Okay, so this movie is from 1965, 1966. Robert Bresson is a French movie director, was. He was born in 1901 and died in 1999, so he had a long life. He made 13 movies, 13, 14 movies. This one is really in the middle of his career. His style is very specific, of course you will see. And by many people it is seen as very cold, very artificial in some way. So if you're, of course, like if you expect entertainment, then that's definitely not this kind of movie. Oh gosh. First technical hiccup. Okay. Yeah, so his style, Robert Bresson, it's very, somewhere it's very minimalistic, it's ascetic kind of approach. It's very specific, you'll see. But sometimes, somehow in all his filmography, or in all his movie, there's a real coherency in his style. He has built this style pretty early in his career. And he has really perfected it over time. He's seen as a major, a master in movie making. For example, he's one the great Russian director Andrei Tarkovsky told him that he was an absolute, a real genius. Godard also. For example, Godard said he is the French cinema as Dostoevsky is the Russian novel and Mozart is German music. Okay, that's Godard. He's of course always too much, but he is really regarded as he was really regarded with his peers as a real master. He has influenced also a lot of people, more modern movie makers who can do, for example, there's Kaurismäki, Michael Haneke, or Linklater, Richard Linklater, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I have prepared kind of a bit some video. This time it's almost only interviews with him and other people. Hopefully it should work. Yes.
Monsieur. Other question.
This is when he was 82 years old. So that's from Cannes Festival in 1983. He presented there his last movie. His last movie is called L'Argent, Money. And this first one is a bit funny.
Monsieur Bresson, je trouve votre film pas très plaisant, mais intéressant. Vous avez une écriture tout à fait spécifique que je qualifierais de frustrante pour le spectateur. Si vous êtes d'accord avec cet adjectif-là, qu'est-ce que vous en pensez? Et est-ce que pourquoi faites-vous des films frustrants pour les spectateurs?
Pourquoi faites-vous des films quoi? Why do you make films that frustrate the spectator? And do you agree that you do?
Oui.
Frustrant pour le spectateur. Frustrant.
Ah oui.
Frustrating.
De quel spectateur parlez-vous?
What kind of spectators are you talking about?
Okay, I also selected this, so this is a Cannes in 1983 for the latecomers. So yes, many people see his movies are very frustrating. As I said at the beginning, so it's the kind of a bit very strong kind of style. So either people they like it, and there's usually no middle way. So maybe you'll hate it, that's fine. Hopefully you'll love it, and so if you hate it, it will be very frustrating. So, but like he was so pretty old at that time, but you can see he's a bit. He was he couldn't hear properly, but he was quite sharp still. So he's about his style. I have to present to explain a little bit few concepts. I believe. Hey. About his way of making films. One thing about the character, he was Christian, actually, a Catholic, and with a strong feeling for his religion, he was practicing. That shows somehow in the movies. You'll see in Balthazar, in the movie we'll show now. It's also like in his a bit ascetic kind of way of talking. Like he was not looking for fame or anything like that. And in all his interviews were pretty rare. And he tried to. Many people ask him about his cinema, because it asks questions, and he tries to answer.
Il est très possible que le cinéma opposé au cinématographe continue d'exister. Il n'y a pas de raison que le cinéma divertissement ne continue pas. Mais je crois fermement en un cinématographe art sérieux et qui ne sera pas un divertissement, qui sera au contraire un moyen d'approfondissement des choses, une espèce d'aide à l'approfondissement de l'homme, peut-être un moyen de découverte de l'homme.
So as he explained here, like he wanted to put meanings, like to make a new form of art using cinema. Like so, he always, like his interviews, put in opposition what he called cinematograph, like really French. So I don't know exactly why. Like it's a very old kind of way of speaking, opposite to cinema, like the movies, the commercial ones. So he's like entertainment industry has its place, but like he's trying to use that medium to create a new form of art, and he's always opposing also with a kind of theater kind of thing. For example, only his name, like the director, movie director, or metteur en scène in French, he said like he's not metteur en scène because there's no scene for him.
Cette scène, elle était
Here he is talking about one specific scene in Au hasard Balthazar, so in the movie. He's explaining a little bit. I'm not telling you the scene, of course, but he's explaining that as example of what he means.
écrite et décrite sur le papier, ou vous en avez improvisé une partie au moment du tournage?
Donc, elle était écrite sur du papier, mais entre l'écriture et le tournage, il y a un monde. Je veux dire que il y a quelque chose qui joue avant tout dans un film, à mon sens, c'est le rythme. Tout est dit avant tout en rythme. Il n'y a rien sans rythme. Il n'y a rien sans forme, mais il n'y a rien sans rythme. C'est agi pour moi, de prendre deux personnages dans une telle attitude et de trouver leur rapport. Mais tout ce que vous dites qui se passe, ne s'est pas passé pendant la prise de vue, c'est passé pendant le montage. C'est au montage que les choses sont apparues, c'est le montage qui crée. L'appareil, la caméra, est un appareil d'enregistrement, n'est pas avec cette précision et cette indifférence, heureusement, de la machine, c'est-à-dire cette énorme précision, et la création du drame se fait au montage. C'est quand les images se mettent en contact les unes avec les autres et en contact avec les sons que ce que vous venez de dire, que l'amour se produit.
So basically, like, for example, like the script, the way he has scripted Waza Baltazar. Waza Baltazar is really an original script, not coming from a book, like he took other ones from books and so on. It's vaguely inspired by Dostoevsky, The Idiot. So here, the donkey would be a little bit the idiot. When writing the script, unfortunately, I didn't find really his original script, but I read that he made with two columns. One is really the descriptions of the scenes, no drawing, he had everything in his mind, but the description of the scenes with eventually the dialogues and so on. And another column with the soundtrack, a description of the soundtrack. And so for him, like this art form or the movie is constructed from these two devices. He explains a bit later in this scene.
Non, je ne peux pas en parler d'une façon précise, mais je crois, je me suis surpris pendant que je montais, quand on me projetait le film. Je me suis surpris à ne pas voir les images passer, mais seulement à entendre la partie sonore et à la modifier un peu d'après ce que j'ai senti qu'il n'allait pas. C'est-à-dire qu'il y a deux bandes, une bande son, une bande image, qui avancent parallèlement. De temps en temps, une plus vite, plus lentement, elle se rattrape pour se donner la main, et puis elle s'écarte. Mais ce que je veux dire aussi, que ce travail que j'essaie de faire, je ne dis pas que j'arrive à le faire, si on veut arriver à vraiment du cinématographe et une écriture, c'est au moyen de rapprochement, d'équivalence, de transposition d'un monde dans un autre, du monde du son dans le monde d'image, du monde d'image dans le monde son, tout le temps. Et plus volontiers pour moi maintenant du monde visible au monde audible, qui est plus varié et plus profond. Ce qui est admirable, c'est qu'on puisse dire encore, est-ce qu'il ne vaut pas mieux le film muet? Ça, je ne comprends pas. Parce que ce qui se passe, c'est que nous avons deux machines qui, l'une et l'autre, sont admirables, mais il y en a l'une qui nous donne du monde une apparence trompeuse. Rodin, le sculpteur Rodin disait la photo est un mensonge. Il avait raison. De l'autre côté, vous avez une machine, le magnétophone, qui vous restitue exactement la matière du son. Qu'est-ce que vous avez fait avec ces deux images? Une qui est trompeuse et l'autre qui est trop réelle. C'est qu'elles essaient d'échanger leur qualité ou leur non-qualité. L'image essaie de prendre au son ce qu'il a de réel et le son essaie de perdre ce qu'il a en trop. Déjà, c'est quelque chose, ça, d'extraordinaire. Ce que je veux dire, c'est qu'il faut travailler avec ces deux machines comme un chirurgien avec deux instruments absolument différents. Et il arrive à faire son opération par la grâce de je ne sais pas quoi. Mais ce n'est pas prendre des comédiens, les faire parler, expliquer l'histoire, expliquer les sentiments, et puis les suivre dans la conversation comme on les suit au théâtre. Et aussi autre chose de très important. Vous avez dû voir dans ce film que très souvent, je ne m'évertue pas à prendre les gens tout entiers. Ça, c'est les séquelles du théâtre. Au théâtre, on voit tout. Eh bien, nous, quand nous regardons, quand je regarde, Ici, cette table, je vois un verre avec ça. Si je vois le monsieur qui me photographie, je ne vois pas que je photographie, mais je vois deux mains, un œil qui me regarde, l'autre qui fait je ne sais pas quoi, mais je vois ça. Je ne vois pas autre chose. Je ne vais pas me lever pour ses pieds pour dire que je ne suis pas photographe.
Okay, here, like he's really mentioning like devices, tools. He has two main tools at his disposition of anyone like who's making movies. So the camera will take the pictures and the sound record. So those tools for him, they are really instruments of precisions. And as he said, like he's kind of see himself and all the people working on this like maybe as an artist, but more as craftsmen. And they have to do that as good, as seriously as they can, and in order to produce basically something new from this. Then he mentions like the actors again, like the difference between the acting, so the tragedy, kind of tragic art or comedic art, like so you have schools of acting. He only used, except in his really first two movies actually, he only used non-professional actors, like people almost random, and asked them to play in a very, very specific way. You'll see that, it's really striking. Actually, extremely mechanic way. There are a little bit later also how his relation with the actors and the acting. In this, like also the kind of thing, one lady, I didn't put that, but when journalists ask him, but then why are they acting schools then, if in this super art form, if you shouldn't learn how to act? And then he replied that, it's very useful for the producer to make more money. And otherwise, he answered to someone else, come on, like you're going to go to the movie and see pictures with people like playing a performance on the screen. Like you have to move to something else, to some next step in this art form that he could foresee, and that's what he tried to do. So, like basically, like tools himself, was seeing himself as a tool. And
Jean-Claude Guilbert.
Jean-Claude Guilbert. So that's one of these completely amateur person. So just like the before, it was still, of course, it was Cannes 93. He was talking about these last movies, so almost 20 years after Balthazar, but it was absolutely still valid. This one is some documentary from a documentary about his movie right after Balthazar. That movie is called Mouchette. Mouchette is that girl here. Yeah, the shooting. So Jean-Claude Guilbert, actually, you'll see him, a completely unknown person. You'll see him in Balthazar. He played in Balthazar and in Mouchette.
C'est le deuxième film que vous faites avec Robert Bresson. Vous pouvez nous parler de votre expérience de comédien amateur?
C'est un métier idiot, enfin celui que je fais.
Pourquoi?
Je ne prends aucune initiative, ça ne fait pas du tout appel à mon intelligence, à supposer que j'en ai.
Quel métier faites-vous dans la vie?
Je suis maçon.
Et il y a une différence?
Oui, maçon, c'est un métier intelligent.
Est-ce que vous ne pensez pas que cela tient surtout au metteur en scène avec lequel vous tournez?
Je ne le pense pas. Je pense que Bresson est un type très intelligent, qu'il m'enquiquine énormément. Ça, c'est normal, c'est son boulot, il fait son boulot. Moi, je fais le mien, seulement le sien est intelligent.
Est-ce que vous n'avez pas envie de faire d'autres expériences avec d'autres metteurs en scène?
À ce prix-là, volontiers.
C'est uniquement une question de prix?
Oui, c'est très bien payé. C'est un métier pénible, mais On fait souvent des choses pénibles quand c'est bien payé. Ce n'est pas déshonorant, c'est idiot.
Marie Cardinal, quels ont été vos rapports avec Bresson?
Ben, on n'a pas de rapport avec Bresson. Bresson n'est absolument pas intéressé par les hommes, bien qu'il soit un metteur en scène chrétien. Alors on convient ou on ne convient pas à Bresson, moyennant quoi on est un instrument duquel il se sert, c'est tout. On n'a pas de rapport réel avec lui.
Vous avez pu vous plier à ce rôle d'instrument?
Dans un sens, c'est pas désagréable pour une femme, parce que dans la mesure où on admire un homme, où on le respecte, où on se dit c'est un créateur, c'est un génie, etc., au fond, être son instrument, ce n'est pas désagréable. Mais sur le tournage, ça ne se passe pas comme ça. Je crois que Bresson, sur un plateau, c'est un personnage... Je n'ai pas le droit de le juger tel que je l'ai vu. D'abord parce que je crois que pour lui, le travail important, c'est le montage. Et ensuite parce que c'est un homme tellement odieux sur un plateau, tellement désagréable, inhumain, loin des gens, renfermé à l'intérieur de lui-même, que j'en ferai un portrait qui sera certainement faux, qui ne montrera qu'une partie du personnage.
I find it a bit funny, like how she is portraying him, and she's like, oh no, like I cannot judge him, but like she's describing him like a real monster. So this is a bit strange. Like you can see, like the person like who had very sweet, appeared like sweet, and for people who worked with him, like sometimes they had this kind of thing. So it was extremely demanding, definitely, for the people and for himself.
On a parfois...
Yeah, so that raises the question, basically, like how come someone like some people describe him as a cold-blood monster, or someone like almost deprived of any humanity, kind of loving, and like how he could be considered as such a person, and his cinema is so moving somehow, and he gives some explanations here.
Vous avez dit que vous faisiez un cinéma dépourvu de chaleur et de sensualité.
Ce qui est sûr, c'est que pour faire quelque chose de chaud, il faut le faire froid. Je veux dire qu'il faut que ce soit froid dans la façon de le faire, pour que le chaud arrive dans le résultat, dans la fin. Cette froideur qu'on m'a reproché bien arbitrairement, puisque j'ai vu des gens extrêmement émus à mes films, et je crois que, en effet, ce n'est pas en essayant de copier la vie, de la copier à travers des acteurs, à travers un jeu, une mimique d'acteurs, qu'on arrivera à une émotion.
So it's a bit strange, I think, but somehow like he was trying to create something. He's probably, he could be seen as very arrogant, I think, and that's why he was so unpleasant for many people. Or his movies are also so opaque, so difficult for a lot of people. So that's why also like, he was considered as a master. He was a real creator in some way, and he found a unique style. Then about the this sequence, I find it very interesting. That's 4 or 5 minute shots, only about Mouchette and how it could work. So you'll just see, like that's the little girl who plays the role of Mouchette. She never played again. She had the main role, she was asked, for example, like in some interview, like what kind of relation did you have with Bresson? And she replied, like, no relation. And that's just for very simple shot how he worked.
Là, relève-la comme ça, ça va. Relève-la cette fois-là. Vas-y, relève-la. Là, et puis tu te lèveras, assise, et tu te lèveras. Bien. Maintenant. Vas-y. Vas-y.
Okay.
Allez, vas-y.
Go on. I didn't put subtitles in this part, but it's very simple.
Tout de suite, tu te lèves.
Right now, wake up.
Oui,
Stand up.
elle fera de ça. Bon, ça va. Une fois que tu n'y as pas de temps entre le moment où tu es assis et le moment où tu enlèves, tu fais ça en liant les deux choses. Bon.
Just no intermediate between when you lie and
Et
when
quand
you
tu
stand.
ne te relèves pas par saccade.
No jerky movement.
Bon, recommençons. Fais-le à peu près ça comme c'était, oui, c'est ça. Ta main gauche, là.
Your left hand.
Allez, redresse ton truc, vas-y. Allez, assieds-toi et pars tout de suite.
Sit and stand.
Doucement. Ça fait rien?
That's okay.
Facile? Quand?
Les premières répétitions.
Bon, recommençons alors.
Let's do it again.
Fais-le très lié. Mais dans un rythme à toi, mais fais-le sans saccade.
You just do at your pace,
Vas-y.
but smoothly.
Allez, vas-y. Alors, fais ta respiration. À tes yeux, attention, ton
Your
regard.
breathing. Your eyes,
Voilà.
be
Fais ta
careful.
respiration.
Your breathing,
Pas si fort.
not so strong.
Ok. Essaie. Non, il faut fermer ta bouche. Il faut fermer ta bouche complètement. Vas-y.
Close your mouth.
Ferme ta bouche. C'est là qu'elle a regardé. Attends, moi je ne vois pas là. Faut pas regarder si haut. Faut pas regarder si haut, Nadine.
Don't look that
Là,
up,
comme ça, si
right.
tu veux. Pas plus haut. Tu as fixé un point là.
Yeah, you
Tu sais où?
stare at a point. You
C'était mieux tout à
remember the
l'heure,
point
mais
you
c'est-
should
c'est-
stare at.
Tu veux recommencer le tout?
Let's start again.
Non, reste assise. Une seconde là.
Okay, just sit and sit.
Jean, là, vous cadrez la tête ou au contraire au coude?
He's talking
Ou
to
pas cadré volontairement.
the cameraman.
C'est mieux, peut-être.
Will you like
Oui,
frame
je veux dire,
the
regardez.
head, which part
Vous
of the
prenez la
head?
tête, vous la
and
coupez mal. Je couperai la moitié de la tête et la moitié de la main.
just frame
Ça sera
some
plus
head
joli
and
pour la
half of
retrouver
the
entière en
hand.
haut. Si vous cherchez la tête là, ça n'a pas d'intérêt.
Oui, ça permet de monter avec
Discussing
Hein?
how she
vous
will
la
stand
rattrapez.
and where the frame. Then he's discussing.
Vous
with
croyez?
the
Attends, on va
cameraman.
essayer. Alors vas-y, Nadine. Vas-y. D'un seul coup. Hein. Vas-y.
Go.
J'aime mieux ça.
I prefer this.
Vous avez vu pour la tête? Parce qu'elle est mal coupée la tête.
Yeah, the hand or the head or whatever.
Ça rentre dans le champ, puis elle monte tout de suite.
Bon, faites comme vous pensez le mieux. Ça va.
And finally he says like, okay, do as you think
Oui,
is
oui, bon.
best.
On fera les deux.
Vous y êtes?
Okay.
Recommençons.
Start
Alors,
again.
comme une dernière répétition. Fais-le bien comme tu viens de le faire maintenant. Bien régulier.
Last rehearsal.
Et d'un seul coup le tout. Vas-y.
One.
Alors, prenez la tête puisque vous croyez que c'est mieux. Allez-y. Là, lève-toi. Doucement.
Stand up slowly.
Là, tu as eu une petite saccade.
A little bit jerky.
Et regarde-tu là. Prends une position.
The stair. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's interesting to see how like the really on the shooting. And finally, so that this monster, Cole Monster, which was like really almost a dictator, actually you could see like he was really giving instructions, but also like the cameraman, like he said like do as you think is best. So it's not like that, I think. One thing that you will like if you notice, like he mentioned the hand. It's really recurring in all his movies, including in Balthazar, and including in some almost all of them that he made. And what he mentioned also before, like in Cannes, in the conference about the shooting, that he doesn't shoot like people completely. He said, like, that's just like theater. Like, you just see the whole scene and the spectator, and you see the scene. In the movie, like, there's a framing, and for him, like, the framing of the hands and a bit the feet, but especially the hands is extremely important. So many close up on hands. I think that's related to the action, like in all this way of composing the movie, like the action actually is very important. So the hands, like, they are the tools for us, and somehow, like, he all said that usually we don't think much about our movements. Like, okay, I just play. I don't think that I'm doing this, or you don't see that you don't think that you put somewhere. Like, the hand is mechanical. That's again a very mechanical point of view of the thing. That most of the thing, and it's also related to some kind of philosophy, I believe. That it's somewhere related, and that in many of his movies, like in Balthazar, there's the destiny. It questions the destiny, freedom, and the consciousness also that we all have, and the relation between the mental and the physical and the spiritual. The hands are very important. He mentioned that. Yeah, that's not Balthazar actually, but that's a donkey. We don't know which. We lost track about the actor donkey who played Balthazar exactly. But you said he was influenced by Theodore Dorotheus. Yeah. The entire donkey character, or the entire movie was influenced from the Didier Clos? Unfortunately, I haven't read the book. What I understand is he'll talk a little bit about it.
Et ce film que vous préparez et que vous tournerez le mois prochain, qu'est-ce que c'est?
J'ai eu brusquement l'illumination d'un film où l'âne serait, ou un âne serait le personnage central.
Ce sera la vie complète d'un âne?
C'est la vie d'un âne avec les mêmes étapes, où l'on retrouve les mêmes étapes que dans la vie d'un homme. L'enfance, les caresses, l'âge mûr, le travail, le talent, l'âne qui est pris dans un cirque. Et puis, quelque temps avant de mourir, la période mystique.
Yeah. a bit too much.
Alors voilà. Je me rappelle être sorti complètement de ces ténèbres le soir où...
He's reading, so the journalist asked him about what about this Dostoevsky. He's just reading a bit of it.
Arrivant à Bâle, je mis le pied sur le sol de la Suisse. Je m'éveillai en entendant braire un âne au marché. Cet âne me fit une profonde impression, et je ne sais pourquoi, un plaisir extrême. Dès ce moment, une clarté soudaine se produisit dans mon esprit. Un âne? Voilà qui est singulier, observa la générale. Après tout, il n'y a là rien de singulier. Peut-être que l'une ou l'autre d'entre nous pourrait s'enticher d'un âne, ajouta-t-elle en jetant un regard courroucé sur ces filles qui riaient. Vous voyez, alors là, il y a l'érotisme qui montre son nez. Bien sûr. L'érotisme n'est pas montrer des images érotiques. L'érotisme est dans l'air. Et l'érotisme n'est surtout pas la pornographie qui, au contraire, empêche l'érotisme.
Mais pourquoi précisément un âne?
Peut-être à cause de ce côté un peu idiot, quel idiot. J'ai toujours eu un penchant pour les ânes. Mais... et aussi parce que je crois vraiment que c'est l'animal le plus important, le plus sensible, le plus intelligent, le plus pensant, le plus souffrant. C'est le pâtira.
Yeah. So that's complete. So yeah, it answers a little bit, I think. Like in the book, the idiot is a prince, Prince Mushkin, I believe. That's his name, and actually, like, of course, like, he's not so idiot, but that's a bit the role played by the donkey. I don't want to speak too much about the movie, of course, right? Few more things about the movie. Balthazar. He hired a young girl called Anne Wiazinski for doing the role, and maybe Jean-Luc is just like, this name rings some bell. No, okay, Mr. Jean-Luc Godard, your dear friend, fell in love with her watching this movie. He married her. And she played later on, she became a professional actor. She became also after a writer. And she wrote, she played 3 or 4 movies, like La Chinoise, for example. And One on One, and I don't remember the whole filmography. The shooting, the picture. The picture of Quasar Balthazar was made by Ghislain Cloquet. Okay. This guy, actually, that's the DOP, director of photography. He had quite an impressive career, actually. He filmed three or four movies with Bresson, including Mouchette, that we've seen many extracts also. He won, so the DOP worked with whom? With Louis Malle, with Roman Polanski. He got an award, Oscar, Academy Award for Tess by Roman Polanski. Like absolutely beautiful pictures. Like if you've seen him, like hopefully we'll show it sometime. He worked with whom? With Woody Allen. Yeah, we've seen a movie with Woody Allen that he shot. Huh? Yeah, it was Love and Destiny. Okay, sure. Just a second. Yeah, with Louis Malle, with Jacques Becker, Le Trou, with Woody Allen, with Alain Resnais, with Arthur Penn, also. So and also he was really someone. About the pictures, all the movie is shot with one single lens, which is a 50mm. So it's a pretty, for shooting pictures, like it's a pretty narrow actually. Usually, I think pictures are shot more in 35 millimeters, usually, so 50. And it's only one focal lens. So and so it allows to focus more. Basically, it gives less space to the picture, but more focus. It's called normal, so it's neither a telephoto or a wide. It's a choice, artistic choice. It gives coherency to the pictures. Yeah, it's a 4/3. Yeah. So it's 30. Yeah. If you propose that we see the movie now, if you have question, maybe you can ask now about what I said. Yeah? Oh, no. That's up to Mouchette. The next one, it's black and white. And then the last ones are color. Let's say. The first one was a bit of a joke. Short movie, that's really burlesque thing. Les Anges du Péché and Les Dames du Bois de Boulogne were really classical. That he shot with professional actors. Les Dames du Bois de Boulogne, for example, was with Maria Cazares, who was a great actress from this time. She said about shooting with him that it was the worst experience of her life. And from this point, like Journal d'un curé de campagne onwards, he chose only to work with non-professional kind of. For him, the shooting with non-professional actors was like a virgin of any experience and any bias or anything. Like they didn't try to act, basically. Un condamné à mort s'est échappé, that's A Man Escaped, où le vent souffle où il le veut. This one. Or the wind blows where it will. Actually, that's a bit the same idea that au hasard. The real name, the French name of Balthazar is Au hasard Balthazar. Balthazar at random. So that's also something to do with, I think, the destiny. That we are not really master of our destiny. That's a bit common theme in many of his movies, like where again, like that's the notion of being tools in the either in the movie or in real life somehow. Yeah. So from those ones are in color, Une Femme Douce and the rest. Okay. So 1.5 hour. Movie, and then if you want, we can have a chat, discussion.
Yeah, we can have the discussion, open discussion, question, answer, but mostly to share about the film after.